in Q2.
Yes.
We're doing at our office a fund sales contest. Spring of the year is always the time that we really need to be focused on getting new inventory and listing homes. And so our goal for the month of April is, out of our office, we want to list $100 million worth of real estate. We're halfway through and we're $6 million short of the midway point, but I believe the best 2 weeks of the month are ahead of us, so I think we're going to hit it. As a market as a whole, I think that we're going to see in the 7-county metro a surge, and I think we're going to see some of that pent-up demand show up, and I think it's going to show up in new listings and it's going to show up in buyer activity. And I think by the end of Q2 we're going to be sitting 5% up year over year in total sales volume. I think that the unit numbers will be up about 5% as well, and I think prices will be relatively flat.
You know, in the banking lending world, we operate on a quarter-by-quarter basis, right? It's all, you know, it's all about quarters, and historically speaking, it's all about surviving the first quarter to get to the second quarter. We're very hopeful too. I mean, we're looking at a 25% goal increase in units and volume for 2026. So we had a good start to that, and we kind of, you know, lost all of that in the last part of the last month of the Q1. So we're still, you know, looking to see about a 10% increase. Like for us, the big key, some type of resolution with the conflict that'll bring oil prices down. As go oil prices, you know, so go the bond market. As goes the bond market, so go mortgage rates. It's just kind of that filter down effect. So we need to have some certainty around the supply of oil and the cost of oil, and that will drive things further.
So the million-dollar question in your world of, and I know predicting interest rates is like predicting the weather, and hopefully nobody holds you accountable and looks back and says how you did. But if you had to predict, you know, where do we end Q2 for 30-year interest rates?
I think we're going to be just a tickle above 6. I think probably that 6 to 6 1/8 is probably where we're going to get. We're not far away from it right now, and we really haven't had any meaningful, you know, certainty surrounding the conflict. So I think we'll get there. And people haven't talked about, like, there's a whole AI productivity piece of it, and so I'm not talking about everybody getting laid off, because certainly that would be recessionary. And as much as that certainly would be fostering low rates, that isn't good for the housing market. You got to have a job and go buy a house. I'll take a slightly higher interest rate if it means everybody's gainfully employed, because that fosters activity. So, but I do think that productivity gains through technology will help, you know, take away inflationary pressures regardless of oil. So I think there's a lot of fundamental factors out there that are going to be supportive of lower interest rates. Now, obviously, the variable would be, you know, the government debt. If our country keeps having to flood the market with bonds to pay for a deficit, that's going to not necessarily support lower interest rates. But the lowest we got was kind of high 4s back in 2016 that weren't due to, you know, COVID or other things, right? We can't get back down there with the level of debt that we have, you know, not just the United States, but just all the countries of the world. There's just too much debt. We can't get, until there's a meaningful reduction in that, we can't get back to where we were. But that doesn't mean we can't get into the 5s. I think even with the debt loads out there, as long as economic activity is decent, I think that we can, you know, my prediction would be for the next 2-3 years would be probably that middle 5s. To me, that's kind of bedrock until there's solutions for the amount of debt that's out there.
So middle 5s.
Middle 5s. That's it. Like, don't want. Someone's thinking they're going to get back in the 4s again. Again, barring any massive cataclysmic events, that those would, the negativity of that would far outweigh any benefit of a 4% interest rate, right? So, again, I think that until we can get, you know, our deficit and debt solution figured out, we're not going to enjoy those rates that we once kind of took for granted back in that 2015, 2016 time period. But you know what? 5 handle sounds pretty good right now.
Sounds really good. Yeah. Well, let's have a great Q2, and hopefully you and I can get together again at the end of Q2 and see how we're doing.
Compare notes. We'll see where it's at. We got to do this on a quarterly basis. This will be fun.
Love it.
Great.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.